I think I've heard every rumor everybody else has. I still think people need to remember this is the largest outdoor camping event, so that is not easy to move or keep that claim.
Now, under new ownership, rumors are swirling that WeFest could leave Detroit Lakes.
Valley News Team's Rose Itzkovitz asks if there's any truth to the rumors and how it would impact DL.
Detroit Lakes barber Alex Lindsay doesn't love WeFest.
It slows us down a lot because the locals, they leave, and the WeFesters, they don't have any need to get a haircut.
But he says it's a big part of Detroit Lakes.
It puts DL on the map, definitely.
The popular country music festival's been around since 1983. Now, under new ownership, is WeFest going to stay in Detroit Lakes after this year?
I just heard rumors that the new company, there's a chance to move it down to the cities.
I've heard that there's new ownership, that it potentially could be moving to Minneapolis.
They might move it down to the cities. I'm not sure.
Leaving locals wondering if the fest will soon have a new location as well.
Not a big fan of that.
That's just what the word is around town.
WeFest stopped featuring many local shops when Town Square Media took over in 2014.
They used to use all the local beers and local businesses to do all of it and use the people to work it, and the new company came in and kind of pulled that apart.
But since it's hard to maintain ice from out of town, Randy Gravel is one of the few locals directly benefiting from WeFest these days.
This year, obviously, the weather was warmer. We sold an additional probably 50 to 100,000 pounds around town.
But Gravel says even his other business, a Detroit Lakes meat market, made about 50% more on WeFest weekend.
WeFest is always a busy weekend.
It brings a lot of traffic into the Detroit Lakes area, which helps businesses, which helps restaurants, which helps shops.
And with several camping sites right here on the WeFest grounds, Gravel says it wouldn't be so easy to move all this to the cities.
I'm very confident it stays in town.
After all, the sign does say WeFest, camping and country music. In Detroit Lakes, Rose Itzkovitz, Valley News Live.
Gravel adds it won't be long before we know for sure whether the fest stays in Detroit Lakes, as tickets will likely go on sale within the next few weeks. We also reached out to the mayor of Detroit Lakes and the Chamber of Commerce. They declined an interview.
Today's drop in temps has been nice. It's really comfortable out there. Let's find out from Hutch what to expect for the rest of the night in your No Wait weather planner. Hutch?
Well, our northwest winds do continue. It is a little bit on the breezy side out there, but I expect those winds to be tapering off this evening. Not much to show you on the satellite and radar, and temperature-wise, some of the coolest air in northwest portions of Minnesota. Low 70s there, mid 70s up and down the Red River Valley. It's a little warmer out to the west with some 80s showing up in the western and central Dakotas. Your planner for this evening shows we hold on to those low 70s through the 8 o'clock hour, and then as the winds subside around sunset, temperatures will slip into the 50s by bedtime tonight. Grand Forks, likewise, slipping quickly through the 60s on our way to the 50s on a dry Thursday evening. Our forecast for Friday includes some thunder for some. We'll have details on that, and we'll have a look ahead toward the weekend here in just a few moments.
All right, thanks, Hutch.
People were just running. It got chaotic inside there, and I didn't look back. I just bolted out of there. And
what started as a search for a man with a gun inside a Dilworth Walmart has now turned into a search for the woman who called it in. Police evacuated employees and shoppers around 12:30. They checked out the entire store but found nothing. They say it was a woman who made the report. They haven't been able to get back in touch with her, leaving police wondering if there was actually an armed man inside or if it was just a prank.
And at the end of the day, if it ends up being that this lady thought she saw someone with a gun, then great for calling it in. If it ends up being that it was a prank, then we'll prosecute her as much as we can.
If you have any information on this case, call 218-287-2666.
Friends and family are gathering for a vigil tonight for Fargo murder victim Denise Anderson. It'll be held at 9 o'clock outside of Anderson's home. That's 3620 42nd Street South in Fargo. Organizers say Denise touched every heart she ever met with love and laughter, and that tonight's gathering will be a celebration of a wonderful life. You can look for coverage on Valley News Live, 10 at 10.
A little boy was treated for minor injuries after crashing his bike into a car in Fergus Falls. Police say the boy was riding along when his brakes failed. He was unable to stop or slow down in time. The car was scratched, but police say no charges will be filed.
West Fargo police are asking for your help identifying this person of interest in an ongoing investigation. If you have any information on him, you're urged to call the West Fargo Police tip line. That phone number, 701-433-5333.
Minnesota has seen hundreds of hate crimes in recent years. The latest numbers indicate 127 bias-related crimes in the state in 2018, with 139 victims. Some progress is being made, however. That number is slightly lower than 2017, which saw 148 hate crimes. Of that, the FBI says 92 of those crimes were based on race, ethnicity, or ancestry. 34 were due to religion and 22 for sexual orientation.
The UND Police Department is the first in the state to complete its One Mind campaign pledge. The pledge asks police departments to learn new techniques and institute new practices when it comes to dealing with people affected by mental illness. UND Police Chief Eric Plummer says over the last decade, the department has gotten more calls relating to mental health issues, so the new push is welcome.
One of the things that we saw was a need to train the officers in not only identifying those struggling with mental health issues, but also respond in a way where we're actually de-escalating the incident instead of actually causing the incident to spiral out of control.
Plummer says understanding mental illnesses and using de-escalation techniques will create fewer cases of police using force and more positive outcomes.
With school about to begin, a setback for the Oaks School District. That district can no longer use a specific software. eBackpack brought technology into the classroom, allowing students, teachers, and parents to connect by sharing assignments, grades, and feedback. The service went bankrupt, and Oaks leaders say that they are looking into other options. They're asking for patience during this process.
Do you remember when Franklin D. Roosevelt was president? Well, in Crookston, the school's bus garage dates back that far. That's why the district is asking voters to pay for an upgrade. Right now, Superintendent Jeremy Olson is taking residents through the aging garage to show them what the district is working with. This is one of the issues residents will be asked to approve in November. The project will cost around $2.9 million, which would require a 10-year bond. The other question, if approved, would renew and adjust an operating levy. Now that the city has taken over ownership of the school district's pool, funding for that will be taken out of the levy, lowering taxes.
The nature of North Dakota elections has taken a historic turn. Today, 5 members were appointed to an ethics commission. They are Chairman Ronald Goodman, Cynthia Lindquist, David Anderson, Ward Kozer, and Paul Richard. They were picked out of a pool of nearly 70 applicants.
Each of the 3 members gave up on candidates that we were supporting to get to a point where we ended up with 5 unanimous candidates. As we're affectionately calling the impartial 5, but I think that we ended up in a great spot.
Voters approved the establishment of the commission in a 2018 ballot measure. The impartial 5 will oversee campaign finance laws and will have rulemaking powers that have not yet been fully defined.
Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue told Minnesota farmers he is hoping for an end to the trade war. In rural Redwood County, all signs pointed to Farm Fest, the annual ag fair, but this time with some extra tension in the air. Perdue sat down for a listening session in a big shed, jam-packed with active and retired farmers, many worried over the trade war with China, which has been a major buyer of Minnesota crops.
This administration is working as very hard as we can to level the trade playing field around the globe. We want to continue talks. President Trump would love to have trade resolution, but you can't deal with a nation, the number 2 world economy, that cheats and steals.
Meanwhile, a new agreement between the U.S. and the European Union will allow more U.S. beef to be sold overseas. Governor Burgum says the move is great news for North Dakota ranchers.
New life-saving equipment coming to deputies in Grand Forks. The sheriff's office receiving a $5,000 grant from American Crystal Sugar to buy tourniquets and tourniquet holders for each deputy. They will come in handy when seconds mean the difference between life and death. The money also will buy new tools to help people trapped inside their cars after an accident and restraint belts for people in custody.
Dialysis patients in Oaks, North Dakota no longer have to worry about where they'll get treatments. Their current treatment center is closing on August 31st, and the next closest dialysis unit is 69 miles away in South Dakota. But Sanford says it's stepping in to care for those patients starting September 1st.
The start of a new school year is right around the corner. Later on Valley News Live at 6, some good ways to stay ahead of the rush.
On a typical day, we would see 83 degrees on this date in Fargo, 75 today, and for the year, we're above average for moisture here in Fargo. Grand Forks, you are a little drier than average for this time of the year, and 70s there as well. Your forecast for Friday and the weekend ahead is coming right up.